Hello and welcome to a Friday Live right here on the early line on SportsGrid and all across the SportsGrid network. That includes sportsgrid.com/watch, where you can find your favorite destination and consume everything all across the grid. He is Donnie Rightside. I am Ben Stevens. For one final time this week, we are live for the next 3 hours up until 11 a.m. Eastern time to recap what we saw last night in a doubleheader around the association in NBA playoff action, to close out scenarios, to series clinching victories. That we will look back on, set the stage for the next round in the NBA postseason, with some more opportunities for closeouts in a doubleheader of Game 6s on this Friday. Stanley Cup postseason. We get you ready for the weekend on the ice and, of course, around Major League Baseball as well. All of that and more, Donnie Rightside, for the next 3 hours here until 11 a.m. Eastern.
We're ready to go, and I am rested and ready. Why? Because I was able to watch the Bucks-Pacers game and enjoy that, and I was able to watch maybe a half of a quarter of my Philadelphia 76ers last night because they started roughly at midnight, tip time in Philadelphia. So that's my sacrifice to the people out there. I'm here, right. I'm ready, I'm energized, even if I don't get to watch my favorite teams play because of the times that they start at on the East Coast. Let's get it, Ben. Let's get it.
If you want Donnie to give you the analysis for all 3 hours here on TEL, the man needs his beauty rest. So what, you saw about 6 minutes in to the opening quarter last night in Philadelphia, then hit the hay?
Yeah, it was. And actually, it helped me get to sleep sooner, the way the Sixers actually started in that game, where the Knicks were blazing the doors off of the building. So I felt like, you know what, let me just get some extra rest here. And I wake up and to see the Sixers had this bad boy tied up in the fourth quarter, watched the highlights, and it was so close. Boy, I would have loved to have watched that game, but hey, people got to wake up and work. What it is.
I mean, DRS, you probably missed the tide of the game because New York was up 33-11, up by 22 points in the opening quarter. You might not have known that Philly had the lead at the break, and the 76ers were up by double digits midway through the third quarter, and a series that has delivered instant classic after instant classic did that last night in game number 6. But the New York Knicks get a series-clinching victory thanks to a big performance down the stretch once again from Jalen Brunson and his Villanova teammate, Josh Hart, and their other Villanova teammate, finally Tay-Tay. Dante DiVincenzo steps up as Josh Hart buries the go-ahead three with under 30 seconds remaining. And from that point on, New York holds on. 118-115. The Knicks win outright as a 3-point road underdog in Philadelphia in game number 6 to win the series over Philly.
Got some great performances all the way through. And yesterday, if somebody would have just let me know that Miles McBride would only play 9 minutes in this game, I would have appreciated that because I knew my guy, Boom Boom Batum, was going to be ready to go on his home court, and he was. But don't take anything away from that starting lineup for the New York Knicks. 19, 14, 41, 16, and 23. That's how you handle your business. And also, we understand that this game was tied up late and the Sixers had a lead, but you want to enforce that you are here to play in this game, and the Knicks did that in the first quarter. And by the way, Jalen Brunson, we told you yesterday on this show, it's automatic that he's shooting 25-plus times in a game. You see his numbers, props, team totals for himself in that lower 30s. Easily blows past that at 41. It's all about usage rate, and Brunson was dominant once again all the way through. A couple late triples to buoy the Knicks to roughly a 10-point lead late in that fourth quarter. The Knicks were just a better team. All said and done. That's all it was.
27 field goal attempts for Jalen Brunson. 13 went down. Also 12 of 16 from the charity stripe for 41 points and 12 assists in that basketball game. Josh Hart, again, the clutch 3 at the end, under 25 ticks remaining. And Dante DiVincenzo finally catches fire from deep. He hits 5 triples as New York advances to the second round of the NBA postseason for a second consecutive year. We'll recap everything from that game and set the stage, what it means for the rest of this playoff run for the Knickerbockers and what the offseason holds for the 76ers. The first game of the doubleheader last night on a Thursday out in Indianapolis, the Pacers only a 6-point favorite pregame. It was the ebbs and flows, DRS, of that line before the game got started because of the reports that Giannis and Dame were going to work out pregame and try to play. Giannis did not. Damian Lillard did. He poured in 28 points, but it did not really matter in the end. Indiana wins at home and clinches a series victory over Milwaukee in 6 games, 120-98. The Pacers cover as a 6-point home favorite. A total that closed at 217 does go over.
Yeah, get those bench guys to perform. 20 points out of TJ McConnell, 21 points out of Obi Toppin here, which lets Miles Turner have a night where he basically fouls himself out and only has 5 points. The Pacers were the better team coming into the series with it felt like a healthy Giannis and or a healthy Damian Lillard. So even when you saw some of these players coming back for game number 6, I almost thought you were getting a discount now on the price because they weren't great with those 2 players, let alone those 2 hobbled players possibly coming back. Dame Lillard came back. And look, superstars want to play here. Any NBA player worth their salt, and these guys really want to play. You knew Damian Lillard was itching to get back. You knew Giannis Antetokounmpo was itching to get back. He just couldn't go. 35 minutes, 28 points out of Dame Lillard. That's much better than I thought you would actually get, but it wasn't nearly enough with a 20-plus point blowout here for the Pacers as they move on.
41 combined bench points out of Obi Toppin, who had 21 in the TJ McConnell game in Indy last night. 20 points, 9 dimes, 4 steals, all off the bench for the Pacers. The first series victory for Indiana in a decade since 2014, rather, in the postseason. And we're going to get a Game 7 on the ice in the National Hockey League. Toronto returns home. William Nylander nets both of the goals for the Leafs as Toronto forces a Game 7 against the Boston Bruins. Back in Beantown, the Bees had a 3-1 series lead as they did a season ago, unable to close out as the Maple Leafs win on home ice in Game 6 as a slight underdog 2-1 to force a Game 7.
I believe they were saying before the telecast last night, 6 straight home losses in the playoffs for the Maple Leafs. So that's a good win, 2-1, fresh off another close win that they had in Boston. And also doing this without Austin Matthews, a particular quote-unquote illness that he has. Love it. The only sport in the world that allows you to not tell why a guy's missing games and making things up, it's the NHL. Welcome to the new age.
Boston back at home tomorrow night, nearly $1.50 favorite on that money line. It is Game 7 inside TD Garden. A short Major League Baseball slate yesterday, but still some exciting games. Francisco Lindor delivers for the New York Mets in extra innings against the Chicago Cubs. The Amazons walk it off in 11. Lindor did not start, also battling a bug and under the weather, but a walk-off RBI double, a 2-run double in the bottom of the 11th, wins it for the Mets. They split the 4-game set against the Cubs with the 7-6 victory.
That's a good win, man. You're down 4-0 at home. Things weren't going your direction. You see Lindor with those 2 hits finally. Maybe that wakes him up. He lifts his average to a paltry 207. But the Mets now above 500 once again. And by the way, the Cubs coming into that game 19-12. So good win for the Mets.
Yeah, a big win for New York. Baltimore, a big series victory over the New York Yankees in that battle for the top spot in the AL East. The Orioles, in the return of Kyle Bradish, win 7-2 yesterday as a slight home underdog. Day baseball at Camden, they take 3 of 4 against the Pinstripes.
Yeah, using the long ball and also that power stroke for the Baltimore Orioles. Talked about it before the series started. That plus 175 is now in the rear view mirror. That was a great place for the Baltimore Orioles. They improved to 20-11 on the season. No shame in the Yank step here. It just weren't good enough yesterday. It's a long season. And again, these 2 teams will battle throughout the summer to see who's going to take down that American League East for me.
Some football news. To the college ranks we go. Kirby Smart extended once again at Georgia, a 2-year extension that runs his deal through 2033. He will now make nearly $13 million on an annual average basis. And the Chargers, who need wide receiver help, add the veteran DJ Chark to Los Angeles. The rest of this opening half hour is all around the association. NBA playoff reactions up next.